Good afternoon, everybody. This is Allison Zuccaro, and today we're going to talk about how to use lower heat. And thank you, everyone, for joining. A couple of weeks ago, I did a webinar on emblems and patches. We talked about an embroidery and flex style and leather. And one of the discussion topics that we had during that webinar was specifically on application and how application with textural and dimensional emblems was very much better applied when using lower heat. And there was a lot of questions during that webinar about what is lower heat, when to use lower heat, so on and so forth. So we decided that it would probably be a good idea to revisit lower heat on a basic level, just to give everyone an idea of what it is, how it works, when you should use it, and how it can benefit you. So that's kind of what we're going to cover today. Again, it's pretty basic, but it'll give you the idea. Just like any other time webinar, please use the chat to ask questions. I will jump on there when I can. We also have an administrator that'll answer questions when they can, and we'll call them out as we go along. So again, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll go ahead and get started. So when we talk about lower heat, well, here, let's start with a poll. Let's do the first poll. The first poll that we're going to do is, what type of heat press do you currently own? So we just want to get a feel for what kind of presses that you have, what you're using, so we can talk about how lower heat's going to help you or work for you. So if you can just answer that poll question. We've got auto clam fusion, air fusion, dual air fusion. You can specify that you don't own a Stahls heat press, or you don't own a heat press at all, which is perfectly feasible. We can definitely work on all of those. So we'll talk about this as we go, but I'll give it a few more seconds for you to go ahead and answer that poll question. All right, it looks like everyone's ended. Perfect. Okay. Okay, so what is lower heat? Lower heat is an attachment that you add to an existing heat press that literally has heat on the bottom. So when you employ lower heat with heat presses, you don't replace it. You will still use the top heat and the bottom. And what it does is it basically creates a heat sandwich, if you will. So instead of just applying heat from the top down and driving it through, you're going to heat apply from the bottom and the top. And what that does is, like I said, it gives you a heat sandwich. So it allows you in a lot of instances to decrease the top heat press temperature that you have. And then it helps again with applications of varying thicknesses of things, which we're going to talk about a little bit. So there are some heat presses out in the industry, in the commercial, like laundering space specifically, that have just lower heat, that have a totally different application than the lower heat that we're talking about today. So this application that we're talking about with lower heat is, again, you're going to replace essentially your bottom unheated platen with a bottom heated platen. And you will use heat from the top and the bottom. So you don't turn off the top heat, you just make it lower. Okay. So advantages to lower heat. There are a lot of advantages to using lower heat, but one of the biggest advantages, like I alluded to in my opening, is being able to heat apply textural and dimensional emblems. And it seems like a simple concept and it makes perfect sense, but being with Stahls for 25 years, it really was a eureka moment to me when I thought, hey, why aren't we heat applying things from the bottom? Because it makes perfect sense. That's where the adhesive layer is. When you get into textural and dimensional emblems, the flex style, the 3D, embroidery patches, leather patches, any of those types of products, you are literally driving heat from the top platen down through the thickness of the product to hit the adhesive side and then drive it into the garment. So you can imagine, especially when you get into things like 3D, you either have to have a pretty high temperature or a really long dwell time in order to get that heat driven down through there to ensure a great application. What happens then, especially when you're heat applying onto products that are heat sensitive, like 100% polyester or tri-blends, is you get a scorching situation because the fabric that you're heat printing onto is not capable of holding that amount of heat, and you get that nice little scorch box that comes along with that. So by employing lower heat when you're heat applying the Flex Style, the 3D, all those dimensional products, is you're going to reduce the top temperature of your heat press, which is going to help you eliminate scorching, but it's also going to decrease your dwell time because, again, you're creating that heat environment where you have top heat and bottom heat. So it's all gonna go, and you're going to be able to reduce a dwell time from like 30 seconds down to 15 to 20, even a little bit less in some applications. So that will help you with your production and help you get things done a little bit quicker. The other application for lower heat is heat sensitive fabrics in general. And you can see on this slide that we have the scorched slide for the Dance Studio 84 and the non-scorched slide for the Dance Studio 84. So the scorched slide was heat applied with top heat only on a heat sensitive fabric. So a tri-blend, 100% polyester product, possibly, probably at, over 300 degrees. And when we heat printed that, we have this scorch mark, which is literally just a discoloration or a burning of the fabric. And when we heat applied it using lower heat, where we reduced the top temperature of the top platen, we were able to eliminate that box or that scorch mark. Now, a lot of people ask, when do I know when to use lower heat, or when do I know when I have a heat sensitive fabric? I would tell you anything that's synthetic, you're going to want to be wary of. However, you really want to be super extra careful if it's 100% polyester or it's a tri-blend. Those two products specifically are temperature driven. Another thing that you can really pay attention to if you're unsure is your fabric labels. So the labels on the inside of garments most oftentimes will signify when they cannot be ironed, and it will have an iron with a big kind of X through it. If it can't hold an iron, if they're not recommending that you use a warm iron to it, you're not going to want to heat print it either. Or if you do, you're going to want to use lower heat or use less heat. When we talk about using less heat and using lower heat, we really try to drive the top temperature down to 250 or under if we can, and that will usually eliminate any scorching that you have. With that being said, you'll increase the bottom temperature, which we're going to talk about that a little bit. Let's see, it looks like we have a question. Alan is asking, is there a retrofit lower heated platen for the auto clam press? So we're going to talk about this as we go through, Alan, and what products or what heat presses the lower heated platen is compatible with, but our clams, auto clams, the current auto clams with the pin, are compatible with the current lower heat. If you have an older style clam press that doesn't have the pin feed, that's going to be something that we'd have to discuss with our Hotronics division and see if there's an option there. But that's a good question. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. So we're going to talk about how lower heat works. I'm actually going to show a video so that you can go through it. During the video, I'm not going to talk. It's Josh's video. It's a great video on lower heat. He does a really good job explaining it. So I'll leave it up to him to explain it to you, and you can watch that. But you can see this is the auto clam, the current auto clam. The bottom platen typically just has that gray rubber on it. This is the power platen. And then to the left, you can see the power platen controller. So the power platens come with a control unit, which is separate from the platen, and then it comes in varying size platens. So you replace your bottom platen with the power platen and you hook it up to the controller. So you can control the temperature settings completely independent of one another, which is really important. So let's watch the video because that will probably be the best. Give me 1 second to get this going.
Show you how this product works. The Hotronix Power Platen has a pin registration system that allows it to drop in to a lot of the Hotronix heat presses, including the Stahls Max series, the Auto Clam series, and the Air Fusion models. Lock it into place and clamp the lever. Now each power platen comes with its own cable that can be connected to the power platen control board. The power platen control board is adjustable on the temperature. I have it set for 300 degrees for my application. Now with the power platen loaded, I'm going to load my item onto the press. In this case, I'm going to hit a shoulder placement on this already decorated hooded sweatshirt that's been customized with CAD Cut Glitter Flake. The reason I'm using the power platen for this application is because I'd like to add a dimensional logo. And so I'm using our Flex Style product. Flex Style comes just like this. We send you the transfer from your uploaded art on Stahls.com. You can position your design into place. There's no need for a preheat since the power platen is heating from underneath the garment. I cover it with my special Flex Style pad, and then I complete the application. Now, if you were applying with top heat only, Flex Style would take 360 degrees of heat. Because I'm using the power platen, the top heat only requires 200 degrees, and my bottom heat is at 300 degrees. I'm also able to reduce the dwell time from a normal dwell time of 21 seconds to just 12 seconds. So I'll push 12 seconds on my tabletop Air Fusion control board, accept the setting, and I'm at 20 psi since I'm using the smaller platen, the 6x6 inch size. Press both buttons to lock it down. It applies your logo. So I'm creating a heat sandwich. I'm getting the top heat that's normal for any heat press, but I have the power platen heating from underneath the garment to get to the adhesive of that dimensional logo a lot quicker. After it's been applied, remove the carrier, and I have a completed result. So very quick and very easy to apply product with the power platen.
Okay, so that gave you a pretty good idea. Josh did a really good job of showing us what lower heat looks like, and when to use it and how it works. So you could see in that video, Josh was using the Air Fusion model. So the power platens work with the auto clam, the current pin fitted auto clam, and you could see in that video he showed you the pin fitting. It also will work with any of our air models, so our Air Fusion and the dual Air Fusion model. Anything that has a pin registration. That control on the side can sit on a table, or it does have a mount that can actually mount directly to the side of the clam style machine so that it can be attached right to it. And then you can adjust the heat different. We talked about in the video, Josh talked about being able to use it with varying different size press platens. So there are various size platens that are available for it, which we'll go through in just a second. We'll talk about those individually and what they can look at. It looks like maybe we have a question, so I'm going to go over there. So David is asking if we have a lower heated platen with the instruction sheet give both the upper and lower heat settings. So that's a great question, David, and gonna bring me to my next point. So most, not all, most Stahls products and several Transfer Express products are compatible with lower heat. There are some products that are manufactured in a way that are intended to be heated from the top because they involve releasing from carriers and whatnot. So on our website, under products and application settings, it will tell you if there's lower heat recommended, what the top and bottom heat should be. So it is on our website for you. And I mean, like Premium Plus, obviously the Flex Style, Transfer Express, Stretch Litho, AquaTrue. These are all products that you're really going to employ when using some of these heat sensitive fabrics that all have top and bottom heat applications. So it will tell you right on our website if you can use top and bottom heat and what the top and bottom heat application should be. And if you have any questions when you're doing that at all, don't hesitate to give our customer service a call or reach out, and we'll definitely help you out there. So, good question. We talked about the Power Platens, what they're compatible with. So they're not compatible with the Fusion IQ model. So that's the only press. So you can use the any of the clam style machines that are pin, and then any of our air machines. Those are pin also. So I'm going to actually go ahead and launch another poll pretty quickly here. I'm going to do two, one back to back. One is if you're currently heat pressing dimensional or textural emblems. And I'll launch that there and give you a minute to do that. And while we're doing that, I'm going to go over. Yep. And then as soon as we're done with this one, I will launch the last one just to get all the information in. Looks like everyone's done with that one, which is great. Oh, a good percentage of you are doing textural and dimensional emblems, which is awesome. And then let me do the last poll. And this is just going to say, what percentage of heat application business are you doing on 100% polyester or tri-blends? And again, this is all relative to using the lower platen. So just to get an idea of what everyone's doing. So it's less than 20%, 20 to 40%, 40 to 60%, and more than 60%. Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for answering those questions. That's great. Okay, so let's talk about the Power Platens individually. So the Power Platens are available, like I said, with the controller. The controller is a separate piece. We sell these in a variety of different ways. You can buy the controller separately, you can buy the platens separately, or you can buy them as one complete set. There is the 16 by 20 size platen, which is your standard bottom platen on a standard heat press typically. It's going to be useful for uniforms, full backs, front backs, anything that you would normally use a 16 by 20 platen for. Today's world with uniforms is very much heavily performance driven as far as fabrics go. So polyesters are very much employed here and are going to be very much heat sensitive. So if you're doing, sports uniforms at all, Power Platen's definitely going to be a good add and fit for your business. Youth size uniforms, tote bags, or ladies fitted garments work really well with the 11 by 15 platen. So ladies fitted, anytime you have those tight fitted, or anytime they say ladies fit or fitted, Bella is a good example of a brand that has women's fitted things that are definitely more narrow. The 11 by 15 works really great. It's really great for youth size uniforms or youth size t-shirts or garments in general. And then it also works really well for tote bags. A lot of times it'll fit right in between the handles. So you can get rid of any button seam zippers, anything like that, that will help. And that's when an 11 by 15 platen works. And this goes for all of our interchangeable platens. So even the non-heated ones are going to be good to employ during these types of applications. The 6 by 20 is great for sleeves and legs, or it works really well for back name bar placement. So if you're doing hockey jerseys, for instance, that definitely have that seam across the shoulders and then a yoke where you actually put a name, sometimes that can cause some issues with pressure because of that seam that's there. So this 6x20 platen does definitely help in that application. And again, that's true for the non-heated version. And then you have the 6x6. So the 6x6 is your toddler, youth, so small, tiny garments, onesies, tote bags, or left chest. Depending on what your business model is, one would argue that you could essentially, in a lot of cases, because especially in the promo space and even a lot of times in the sporting goods fanwear space, a lot of the tri-blend polyester performance applications that you're doing are going to be left chest size applications. So one would say that you could essentially start with a 6x6 and a power and a power controller and be in a really pretty good spot for heat applying using lower heat and eliminating scorch marks. That's not going to be true for everything, but that's a really great kind of spot to be in because especially the dimensional, the textural emblems, the leather patches, those are all typically done in those smaller spaces, sleeves, left chest, those types of areas. So 6x6 is definitely enough. So, if budget is a concern, you could start off with just the power platen and the 6x6. Let's see. All right. So that's all I have as far as the product goes. I'll talk about pricing with you a little bit just so that you have some sort of idea of what you're talking about. And if you have any questions, feel free to chat me during this time and I'll answer them for you as we go. So we talked about the platen sizes. I'm going to go back to that screen. So the controller by itself is $240. The 16x20 platen is $755. The 11x15 is $555. The 6x20 is $455. And the 6x6 is $355. You can buy a complete set. The complete set is a reduced price, and we are currently running a special through the end of April. If you buy a complete lower power platen set, it is 10% off. And that is, I'm going to give you that when we wrap this up. The offer that you get will be that power platen promo code that you can enter in online. So that will definitely help you if you need to get a whole set of them. So another question that we have coming in is this type of heating recommended for screen printed transfers too, which is a really great question. There are a lot of screen printed transfers from Transfer Express that will work with the power platen, the stretch litho, the AquaTrue. It's not going to work it's not recommended for use at the moment with the goof proof application. So as we keep going through and testing things, we're getting more and more results that are better and proving that way. But I would definitely recommend testing, especially if you're not using a Transfer Express product. If you're using a Transfer Express product, we will give you those recommended. We have all that recommended application for top and bottom, and we can definitely help you there. But if you're using a different manufacturer's application, it may not work. But the goof proof goes on at 365 degrees. So that definitely is an option to help reduce scorch marks to bring that heat down for you. So do we have any other questions? Doesn't look like it. Okay, I'll give you guys another minute if you want to put anything in there that I can answer. But the basic idea is if you're doing any any tri-blends, polyesters, or heavily. I mean, when I look at the poll results, many of you were saying that 40% or more of your heat printing is done on tri-blends or 100% polyester garments. So I would imagine that one of the struggles that you have if you don't have lower heat already is those scorch marks. And, we all know that polyester and tri-blend. Some of those garments, especially when you get into the, higher end, and you're talking about some of the premier brands, they're not cheap. Nike, Adidas, those are expensive polos, expensive garments, one at a time. So how many do you have to ruin before it warrants the cost of investing in a lower heated platen or lower heated platens to help curb that for you? And once you get the lower heated platen and you start using it, you definitely will, you'll be wondering why you don't use it for everything. I mean, it's definitely an added bonus and something that you can definitely take advantage of all the time. So David's asking, if you have the Hotronix Fusion, is there a lower heated option? And currently at the moment, there is not. I know our Hotronix division has been working diligently to make that, make some sort of usage that will make that effective with the Fusion. But currently there is not at the moment, and I do apologize for that, but coming attractions. So look for that. Cheryl is asking for an update on the shipping of the 360Q IQ hat presses for those of us that had the original. Cheryl, that's a really great question. Let me check on that for you. I will get your contact information from the administrator, and I'll reach out to you separate from the webinar to find out exactly what the update on that is. Because the last I heard was a week or two ago. So I want to double check and see if I have any additional information. But those are great questions, and been stalled a little bit more due to all of this hullabaloo that's happening to all of us. So, but I definitely will get you an answer, I promise. But thank you. Any other questions about the power platens? When to use them, when not to use them, any pricing, anything at all? Okay, it looks like we are good then. So I'm going to pop this offer up for you so that you can see it. And it will be, the power is the promo code. So it's 10% off the purchase of a power platen set online. And you can go ahead, and I think there's even a buy now button that you can buy now, and it'll take you to the website, or, you can jot it down and save it. It is good through April. So I know if some of us are waiting for those stimulus checks that our government has promised us to get, that might be a good investment to use that stimulus check for, depending on what you're getting. Especially, like I said, if you could do the power platen controller and the 6x6, you're golden. Probably have a little bit left over. It looks like there's another question here. Can the heated lower platen be used as just a regular lower platen, or do you need to switch? Alan, that's a very good question. And I would recommend that you switch when you can. The lower heated power platens are a little foamier than the standard platen because of how they're created with a bladder. So they're softer, and that heats inside of there. Some applications that are recommended with top heat only are recommended that way because they really need that rigid or firm pressure from a sturdier or firmer bottom platen. So if it doesn't recommend, or it's not recommended for heat application with top and bottom heat, I would definitely make sure that you switch out when you can. But that's a very good question. Thank you for asking it. I didn't talk about that, so I do appreciate that. Okay. So you have the offer. We've answered a lot of really great questions. Thank you everyone so much for joining me this afternoon, taking time out of all the things that you have going on. We have all kinds of great educational things that we're offering right now during this time. So if you haven't checked out our events page on the website, please do so and take advantage of some of the Facebook Live and a bunch of different webinars. We're doing everything that we can to try to keep you educated and help you through this this trying time that we're all going through. So thank you very much for joining me. Have a wonderful afternoon. It's sunny here in Michigan, so hopefully it's sunny where you are. So take care, everybody.